Hello, everybody. Welcome to Karmic Palms. Today, we're going to be talking about yogs. What are yogs? How do they affect you? What are the positive yogs? What happens when they come into your life? Things like that. Okay, we're going to discuss this in detail. Now, before we get started, please subscribe. And if you want to get your palm analyzed, do WhatsApp us, it's in the description box. Now, what are yogs? What happens when yogs come? I'm not talking about yoga. Okay, yoga is different. That's a meditation thing people do and things like that. I'm not getting into that. I'm talking about a certain period of time a person gets in their life when suddenly everything starts going positive. There's a sudden surge in wealth, there's a sudden surge in name and fame, things like that. Okay? When does it come? Where do you see these signs? I'm going to discuss that in a bit. Now, where do you see these signs? Now, what are the yogs? There are many kind of yogs in a person's palm. Okay, and we also need to check your date of birth. Now, see, I can tell you that you have this yog, but to see when it's going to start and when it's going to end, we need your name and your date of birth details and things like that. But there are some signs that you can see in your palm where we can predict that yes, this person has that yog. Now, the first thing is the most rare, very rare, and very lucky. It's called Samrat Yog. Okay, it's called Samrat Yog. This very few people have this. I would say 1 in 10 million, 1 in 20 million people will have this. Very rare, very lucky sign. If somebody gets this in their life. Now, according to your date of birth details, we need to check how many years will this last in your life. But generally, it's for about 7 years, 8 years, depending on your planetary positions and things like that. But where do you see the sign in your palm? The first place you see is here at the bottom. You see, this is called the money band here. If you have more than three, you will see it coming at the bottom here. You'll see one more coming like this. And if you have continuation of about four, okay, unbroken or no cuts and things like that. If you have something like this is considered to be very auspicious. This indicates that you will be a very wealthy person. Samrat Yog means to take, it's to become very famous around maybe a state, maybe even a country. You'll become very famous, you'll become very rich. Wealth brings, the name and fame will bring wealth. So this is one of the most very luckiest form of time you will have in your life when it comes into your life. Okay, so this is called Samrat Yog. This is very auspicious. This is the first sign that you see. You need to have about 4 bands like this, unbroken bands. If you have something like this is considered to be very auspicious, but very rare. You will not see this in many people's palm. Okay, it's very rare. So this is the first sign. Now, what is the second sign? It's called Raj Yog. Raj Yog. Now, when this comes into your life, this will have very good consequences in terms of there'll be a sudden surge in wealth. Okay, when the time starts, let's say it gets started in 2027 or things like that, there'll be a sudden surge. It won't be slow. It'll be a sudden, today you were doing bad and the next day lucks have changed, all the luck starts coming your way. This is also a very auspicious sign. Now, where do you see these signs? Okay, for example, if you see somebody's sun line, unbroken sun line, which comes in like this and it comes down. If you have something like this is considered to be very auspicious. This means that you will do extremely well in terms of name, fame, wealth. And if there's any line going like this from here to your Saturn mount, this means this junction here. This indicates from one of your business, from one of your name and fame will shoot out to, you'll start your own business and things like that. And through that, you will earn a lot of money. So this is the first sign that we see. Second thing is you need to check your fate line. If your fate line is going all the way straight, and if there's any triangle, a small triangle like this, you see this? this part here. If you have something like this is also considered to be very auspicious. This means Raj Yoga. Now, when will this start applying into your life? How many years will this last? Things like that. We need to check your date of birth and things like that. From the palm, we can only say you have this yoga. For example, somebody is 50 years old or 60 years old. Now, if they see this, they'll say, oh, I have a Raj Yoga, but has it already passed when you were in your 30s? Has it, you know what I'm saying? So you have to check when does it get activated, how long will it last, things like that in your life. So these are the signs that we see. You need to have a proper positive Saturn mount. If there's any auspicious signs like a triangle or things like that, like a trident, you will do extremely well. This all indications of a Raj Yoga. Now, there is another lucky yoga. There are many yogas, guys. I'm talking about the top three. Okay, top three. If you have this, it's considered to be very, very, very lucky. Now, the next one is, it's called Gaj Kesari Yoga. Okay, it's called Gaj Kesari Yoga. If you have this, what does this mean? This indicates throughout your life. See, what happens with Samrat Yoga and Raj Yoga is there is a period of time. Some people get 3 or 4 in their life. Some people only get 1. Some people will have throughout their life. Throughout their life means they will get breaks. For example, let's say somebody gets it in 2027. It might last for 6 years or 7 years, say up to 2034. Okay, and then there is a break for about a year or 2, and then it starts again. So some people have 2, 3 in their life, and some people only get 1. Okay, the rare ones where you get 3, 4 in your life is very rare. So every 6, 7 years they will have, they will have this Raj Yoga coming in. Samrat Yoga also applies the same way. Depends upon your date of birth and everything else that we need to see. In this case, Gaj Kesari Yoga, this if you have, there are certain signs that we see in your life. Now, what effects does this have? I'll tell you in a bit. If you have a very good fate line, say from here it starts and it goes up uninterrupted, no broken lines, no things, no cuts, no islands, no moles, nothing, just goes all the way from here. This is the first sign that you see. Second thing is if your Venus mount is positive. Now, when I say positive, I mean there are 3 types of mounts that come into play. There are 3 types of mounts that we see. One is a flat mount. This is not a good one. Negative is this one. If you have a minus like this is not a good sign either. Positive is good, like this, just a slight bump. Too much bump like this is not good. Okay, so I'm talking about this one here. If you have something like this here in your Venus mount, and you have lines, excellent straight lines going like this, with a proper fate line, if you have these kind of signs, this indicates excellent luxuries life. Gaja Kesari Yoga is luxuries in your life throughout your life. You will not face any difficulties. There will always be wealth coming in your way. Okay, money will keep coming. You will not move away from your comfort. No matter what happens in your life, there will always be comfort. You'll have a good house, you'll have a good bank balance, you'll have all the comforts in the life will always be there in your life. Okay, this is also again very rare. So this is called Gaj Kesari Yoga. And if you have any of these signs, consider yourself to be very, very, very lucky. Now, of course, we need to see when this applies in your life, where it comes. Do you have any negative? Now, for example, I just said you have this sign. Now, you might have these signs here, but your fate line is all cut. Then the effect is not there. Okay, in Raj Yoga, when you see the sun line and sun line is all cut, then the effects are not there. So you might have the sign which is a long sun line, but if it's all cut and broken, then the effects are not there. I hope you understand what I'm telling you. But there is another yoga, which is a negative one. If you get this in your life, okay, throughout your life, there will be struggles. Throughout your life, there will be anything you touch will turn, people say people who touch things turns into gold. In this case, anything you touch will turn into stone. Any positive things comes into your way, it will become negative. What is that yoga? It's called Daridra yoga. Okay, it's called Daridra Yoga. This is one of the most unlucky, what do you say? It's the most, nobody should get this in their life, but people do. Okay, nobody should ever get this in their life. Daridra Yoga. Daridra Yoga, when it comes into your life, it will take everything away from you. It will take everything away from you. You will not be able to be successful in your life at all. It will keep bringing in problems and obstacles. Okay, so this is not a good yoga at all. I hope nobody has this. I hope nobody gets this. I hope everybody gets all the other positive signs except this. Okay, I hope nobody gets this. I don't want to talk about this because it's not important. So I hope this helps. Please do subscribe. And if you want to get your palm analyzed, do WhatsApp us. It's in the description box. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.